Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, my mother called me selfish for wanting to be an organ donor and cremated when I die. A mother grabbed me at Disney. Entitled passenger tried to fight for my berth in bus, which I reserved 2 days prior to boarding the bus. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My mother called me selfish for wanting to be an organ donor and cremated when I die. My mother said this years ago. My brother passed away suddenly from cancer in 2019, 27 hours after being diagnosed. He was 37. It tore our family apart from the grief. It has caused us to make up our living wills and how we like to be buried. I was close to my brother, so he told me what he wanted if he died 4 years before he did. I planned his funeral and everything. My mother trusted me and was pleased of how I planned it. The day after his funeral, we were talking about how we wanted our bodies to be handled after death. I told her I wanted to donate my organs, and whatever is left, I wanted cremated and most of my ashes scattered. If family wanted to keep some, they can. My mother asked how else will she visit my grave? I told her I don't want a grave and again said they can have some of my ashes and plan a funeral if they like. I'd see if I get a funeral or not, personally. Then she told me it's a sin to not have your body intact when going into heaven. When I reminded her I am a non-believer, she started calling me selfish for putting a burden on her by making her think I'm going to hell for my body not being intact, and an atheist started calling me selfish for not having a grave for her and family to visit, and selfish for not letting family keep all my ashes. When I told her, my body, my choice, my mother started to cry and she said, "Well, if you die before me, I'll make sure you have a grave. I don't care what you want. How could you be so self-absorbed?" I felt bad and apologized. She said, "Think about someone else for once. You know how selfish it is to want to pollute the environment with human remains?" Yeah, I don't know, I said nothing wrong, but at the time, I felt like TA for not letting my family visit my grave, so that's why I apologized. Since then, I wrote a living will because I can't trust my mother to handle my wishes. Recently, when the conversation steered to death and burial, I again repeated my wishes. My mother said, "No, you're not. I'm not going to live the rest of my life thinking my daughter is in hell. I'll plan everything for you." Okay, Mom. Person shrugging, medium dark skin tone, female sign. If you haven't already made specific plans with a funeral home or other service for your body after you die, do so ASAP and make sure several people you trust have copies and know who to contact to take care of it. Good idea. I need to write out a living will ASAP. LOL, so donating your organs after you are dead and no longer needed to people who may have a chance at life is now what is being selfish? Good to know/s. And if you die in a fire, you're automatically going to hell because your body won't be intact. Also, generally speaking, most parents die before their kids do. So OP's mom will likely die before OP. Regardless, everyone should respect each other's dying wishes. My body is gonna get donated to science. I have no friends and family that really care enough to attend my funeral. I'm going to do the same thing you/Kylek 345. I was an organ donor until I had cancer in 2005. They now won't take the organs of a cancer survivor. Maybe that will change in time, who knows? But in the meantime, I want science to do what they need to do after I pass away. In the alternative, a cremation would work. The wine rack is a nice idea. Smiley face. I want to be a tree. And buried with the ashes of my pets, obviously not ones who outlive me. I'm not insane. If the tree dies, make me a wine rack. My wishes are well known. I'm sorry, but the make me a wine rack had me cracking up. I said to plant a fruiting bush over me to feed the birds. My mother said, "That is the most you response ever. Can I plant raspberries?" Oh, you'll be dead by then, don't worry. This. I was thinking to myself, why is this woman so sure she's going to outlive her daughter and not the other way around? Most parents don't plan their children's funerals. Yeah, it's kind of messed up that she has the expectation to outlive multiple of her children. It's a sin to not have your body intact when going to heaven. It's things like this that show just how ignorant people can be. Does she not realize funeral homes literally rip open bodies and drain fluids before burial? What about people who lost limbs/organs upon death? Or people who lost limbs while alive and died later? What if I transfer my kidney to someone and then die in a fire? Does God go, sorry man, you were a good guy but got you on a technicality, down to hell you go? Thing is, it's not even a sin to be cremated. The body is simply a vessel. When you're dead, your spirit has already moved on. The remains don't affect that. Wrong levy error. Well, you should know that you probably don't have to worry much about your mother actually taking the reins from you if you die better her. If you complete a will and testament with a lawyer, then legally she cannot betray your wishes. Dead people in America have more bodily autonomy than a pregnant woman, lol. Tell her it is so that you can always be by her side, or spread and slash on her grave. A mother grabbed me at Disney. When I was in elementary school, probably first or second grade for those not in the US, I was 6 to 8 years old. My grandparents had saved enough money to take me, my brother, mom, dad, cousin, aunt, uncle, and themselves to Disney World as a family trip for a couple of days. They are awesome, I know. One day we went to this Finding Nemo thing where you could take a picture in this shark's mouth, and I think you could do other things there. I did not know that it was for pictures and went to the shark's mouth next to this woman and her young, probably 4-year-old, daughter. Now instead of tapping me on the shoulder and asking me to move, she grabbed my arm, dragged me away. I was in tears at this point, and when my parents saw her and came over to me, I explained what happened, crying, and she said something like, "You shouldn't have attacked me and my daughter." Keep in mind I was young and had just walked over to the shark's mouth. Anyway, after that there was an argument and we just ended up leaving the building. Edit, thank you everyone for the support. Sadly, there are other people in the comments who have had similar situations. But thank you for reading. That's horrible. I've seen a couple times of other parents moving kids out the way so their kids can take priority, typically things like animal feeding at SeaWorld, but never any manhandling of that level. In the last couple trips I've come across a good number of Disney should only be for those with kids types, with a few even trying to push ahead in queues stating they shouldn't have to wait behind a child-free party. I think Disney World is a breeding ground for entitled parents. Well, any Disney park, to be honest. Any amusement park at all is a breeding ground for entitled parents. It doesn't help that employees don't help out, but I don't blame them. I was at Disney and a girl about 6 to 7 years old kicked my walker because she didn't like where I was sitting in the shade on a 90-degree day. No idea why, the kid just walked up and kicked my walker. Mom was right there and watched the whole thing and said nothing. So you go to the most magical place in the world, see a kid where your kid wants to go, and instead of waiting passionately for your turn, you grab the kid and move them? Why, lady, just why? She better be thankful your parents didn't report her to the staff. That kind of thing can get you in big trouble. My parents might have reported her to the staff, I don't remember, I was so young at the time. I hope they did. Entitled passenger tried to fight for my berth in bus, which I reserved 2 days prior to boarding the bus. I am a sophomore of a normal college who just got a week for upcoming semester exams. My father booked me a upper head berth in a government bus so I can sleep peacefully and arrive after a 6-hour ride home. The bus departure was at 9 p.m. while I sat inside the bus by 8:40 p.m. already. The bus drive was peaceful as I handed the ticket to the conductor, and everything went peaceful as I wore my noise canceller headphones, slept for 1 hour. At exactly 10:10 I was woken up by a fellow passenger while the bus was in motion, that he was very tired and wants to take a nap in my berth. However, I declined the offer, that I was not going to offer it, and he did not like that. For the next 10 seconds he blabbered curses against me. Of my parents for not giving the birth for him. I forgot to mention he is traveling with his wife and she might have taken the double birth, with no kids aside. She joined and tried shame me for this, but it was not long ago. The driver, after hearing the sound, stopped the bus and the conductor came up. He was not willing to take a reason from either of us and ordered only the woman to get of the bed. You may ask why? They paid a regular ticket for 300 rupees so they can only take up the normal seats in the bottom row, not the beds. The woman tried to make a fuss, however they gave them an either option, either to sit in or leave with their money. I don't think they settled, so they eventually got off to a nearby highway tea stall. Also, I was carrying my college bag and a huge sway case, so imagine how my sleeping position could have been like. The bus ride was fine as I was able to sleep perfectly for a few hours, and by today morning 4 a.m. I reached my hometown. I was traveling in a CTC bus from Coimbatore, so I eventually went home and slept peacefully. Also, for people who may ask why I did not keep the luggage in the lower base head-up, is that the conductor did not allow it, because the other people who were on board literally were moving their entire house, I assume, and there was absolutely no space even for the members who filled the luggage zone to keep bags in their seats. And more specifically, the ticket costed around 700 rupees. Blows me away how cheap stuff like that is in India. A bus seat berth you can sleep in? 6x the price where I live. And yeah, those people were definitely entitled and deserved getting booted off after escalating a situation they had no right to. Plus, for those with sharp eyes who think I am missing something, feel free to ask and I will try deliver the same from this place. I will try to message once my data network attains a perfect point to access your doubts. Funny how they might not have been noticed occupying one of the beds if they didn't try to force OP out of theirs, huh? If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.